dance our way out of our constriction. Gonna be freaking up and down the hang-up alleyway. With the groove I only got, we shall all be moved. Ready or not, here we come, getting down on the one which we believe in. Can I get it on my foot? God. I'm trying to get down on top, man. Don't tell me now. You're fucking for. Don't tell me now. Do you promise the funk? The whole funk, nothing but the funk. Ready or not, here we come, getting down on the one which we believe in. Here's my chance to dance my way out of my constriction.
Well, good morning if it's morning, good evening if it's evening, and good night if it's night. And a big hearty solemn welcome to each and every one of you watching us live, or that will be listening to us in archives. It's 12 o'clock somewhere, baby. We're also live on Spreaker and such a plethora of other social media things. Hope everybody's having a nice and Friday, as I am. Got a clean show going in there, dude, I see everybody showing up. I saw Mr. Eric Cologne, Mr. Aaron, Mr. Lita, Miss Jasmine, Miss Janie.
Out of our constriction.
Yes, we do gotta set up the date to talk about my baby, Mr. Eric Cologne. Crystal, how you doing? Yo, Stanley, what is Miss J. Bell Marie, what's going on, baby? Lakeisha Allen. It's Friday, baby. Y'all take it easy out there.
Don't tell me now.
Yvette the Motown Wish just came in. Oh, Miss Tanya, the massage diva herself just showed up. I gotta check out her talent. Victoria Farr just showed up. I nigga, I'm hey, baby. That's the lady who painted these things behind.
Don't tell me now.
Sapphire Rain, what's going on? Keontae. Nice seeing all y'all here on this wonderful Friday.
One nation under a groove.
We are simulcasting live on Spreaker and on Facebook Live.
One nation and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now. One nation. One nation under a groove.
Keontae says she cannot comment. She's at work. Kitty Sands just showed up. What's going on, man? Make sure you check out on latest clips in the morning.
Do you promise the phone? Do you promise the phone?
Miss O'Dada, what's going on, beautiful? I see everybody showing up, showing with Charlotte.
The whole ball.
Danielle, G.
One nation under
Michelle says hello, everybody.
down just for
Linda Hunter just showed up.
one nation and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now.
Everybody. Teresa Marino, what's going on, baby? We got something to talk about today.
One nation and we're on the move. Nothing can stop us now.
Enjoying this beautiful Friday. I hope y'all get down with us. Sungo, Mr. Chico Nieves. One spirit t-shirts were made by my friend Kevin Wyatt. Y'all do check out his page. He does some hell of a work. Angela Wilson, what's going on, baby? What are those shoe witches living in Tennessee? Julie Lopez, hey, baby.
Nothing can stop us now. You can't stop us now.
And of course, Hoogan Sherman, Don Sherman. What's going on all the way from South Carolina, baby? Christina Thompson, Kenny Collins. Alaikum salam, baby. Now that is That was One Nation Under the Groove by Funkadelic. Of course, it was made in 1978, baby, 1978. I was just a little baby back then. So how are you guys doing, man, on this lovely Friday? It happens to be cold almost everywhere around the nation. Child, I gotta tell you, I had a conversation yesterday. Well, before I forget, let me tell you something. My good friend, Oski Gonzalez, happens to be in New Orleans right now. They're doing a jam session in one of the bars. I can't remember the bar. But if you happen to be in New Orleans, Louisiana, man, check out the Oski Foundation. They happen to be right now playing live in New Orleans. And I also got to tell you that our good friends, my sisters and my brothers, my teachers, and all that stuff there, they're also conversion in New Orleans, Louisiana today, okay? Today is the 6th, the conversion today, but the classes will be today and tomorrow at Conjure New Orleans, okay? Mama Star Cassis will be there, Duchess Young, oh God, Lee. Hoodoo Zen Moise is going to be there. They're giving classes inside of Conjure New Orleans. So do check out Conjure New Orleans. Check out these wonderful classes by these wonderful teachers, presenters, elders, friends. Man, they're everything to me. So if you happen to be inside of New Orleans today, tomorrow, and Sunday, please do go by Conjure New Orleans. All right? Again, see Hoodoo Zen Moise, see Mama Star Cassis, and see my sister, Duchess Young. She will all be there also. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, let me be a little bit correct here. There was a little spiff on my Facebook page the other day because I said something to the accord that witchcraft is not needed, or is not needed as much by the rich and the privileged as it is by people. Well, maybe what I said wrong, the word that I said wrong was witchcraft, because people these days attribute witchcraft to everything, to every type of spirituality, to every type of everything that is under the sun. And we all know that in the Caribbean, we do not use the word witchcraft. We never used it. It's not in our vocabulary to say witchcraft. And some people took offense to it, thinking that I said that spirituality is only for the poor. No, I didn't mean that, okay? Everyone can be spiritual. Now, the use of magic in spirituality. See, because I've never in my life met a conjure man who started out rich. Or free, for that matter. See, guys, we have to think that conjure and hoodoo was born out of necessity. It was born out of a need to overcome oppression. Okay? The conjure that we work today, that people are working today, is nothing like it started out as. We have to know that these love spells that are being done now weren't love spells back then, because you could not marry who the fuck you wanted to marry. You understand? When it came to a binding, to all these things here, it was to actually be able to keep your mate from being sold off to another plantation. See, guys, everybody is with these fucking jars. I want to know, when did a fucking jar, yes, I said a fucking jar, turn into the newest internet threat? I've actually had people threaten me with a fucking jar. A fucking jar. Something that everybody is finding out about today. And if you think about jars, let's talk about mason jars. Mason jars back in the day were a little hard to come by. Okay? They weren't 99 cents at every fucking place. See, let's talk a little bit about these goddamn jars that everybody's talking about putting everybody in. Child, all you doing is making a vessel for your own fucking hate. And holding on to that damn hate is doing nothing but hurting you. So let's stop that foolishness when you motherfuckers are talking about, I'm going to put this jar out, I'm going to get this jar, and you should take that jar and put it up your goddamn ass. Stop it with that foolishness. There is so much more that you can do in spirituality than put someone in a fucking jar. Stop it. Stop threatening people with that shit. I remember back in the 90s. Yes, the fucking 90s. When all these new initiates into Palo Mayumbe got into Palo Mayumbe. All right? And everybody was talking about sticking people's names up fucking chickens' asses. Really? Sticking papers up chickens' asses. Yes, it is something that is done, but it's nothing to threaten someone with. See, because when you threaten someone, the people build bigger moats, build bigger castles, build bigger everything. Guys, let's think about this. Let's talk about it in a wider plane. Let's talk about something bigger. All right? Let's talk about something bigger. Let's talk about nations. Do you think that the United States of America goes and attacks someone at 12 o'clock Eastern Time? Do you think that when a war is started, it is started in the middle of the day? Do you think that the United States says, I'm going to go bomb fucking Libya? No, the fuck you don't. No, the fuck they don't. They wait till about 3 o'clock in the morning, just like workers did. They plan and they plan and they plan, so less people will be hurt during this thing, at least from their side. So in the middle of the night, when the people in that country are sleeping, they attack. They do it quietly. They don't put it on CNN. They don't put it on USA Today. They don't talk about it. And when it finally does happen, they do not boast. They do not say, I did this and I killed this many people. Child, the time of reckoning is near. What you need to do is learn how to fucking humble yourself. And learn how to humble your goddamn magic. And make sure that when you do this magic, it is fucking justified. That it is justified. Not because someone said some dumb fuck shit on goddamn social media. Not because they're trying to be bigger and better than anybody. But because it is the divine justice of God and the ancestors. So stop it. And stop trying to call out elders, baby. The devil knows more from being old than being the devil. Whoever made the trick made the damn antidote for the trick. Child, stop fucking playing with people. But hey, I can't tell y'all shit, because I barely know anything. And I've been doing this for about 30-something odd years. Well, y'all go on ahead and listen to a little bit of Stevie Wonder on this Funky Feel Friday, baby. I am Candelo Kimbisa, and this is It's 12 O'Clock Somewhere. There you go, baby. I could just see you get down now. Come on now. Shake that money.
I like to see you move right across the floor. I like to do it till you holler for more. I like to reggae, but you got too fast for me. I like to make my thing. You can make me scream. Put it on, red woman. What is wrong with me? Put it on, rewind. Baby, can you see? I like to see both of us far deep in love. I like to see you under the stars above. 'Cause I would.
Tina Gatewood just came
I
on
like
up.
to see
Sister Eddie Delise just showed up.
oh, deep in love.
Jessica Nicole, hey.
Yeah. I like to see you in the raw under the stars above. So put it on, red woman. What is wrong with you? Bring it on, bring it on. What you trying to
Miss Fatima just showed up. Miss Danielle. Mick Roberts.
Can I play?
If you don't and can't hear the music loud enough, just go on over the speaker, baby. Or check us out on YouTube.
Can I play?
This is all funky. Fresh filled Friday, baby.
Put it on, red woman. What's wrong with you? Put it on, red woman. What you trying to do? Yeah. Put it on, red woman. Let me do it for you. Red on, red woman. What you trying to do?
For those of y'all who don't know, this is 12 o'clock somewhere. And I am Uncle Pookie himself. Candelo Kimbisa. Go ahead, mother. Doing great, Mr. Alex. How are you, brother? And of course, that was Stevie Wonder with Boogie on Reggae Woman. Yes, sir, baby. We are doing it over here today on Friday. Yesterday, I got a request from someone that wanted to spiritually clean their home. And I often tell people simple ways to clean their homes when things are going awry. But this problem seemed a little bit beyond that person's capability. Guys, it is all right for you to air out a house, to clean out a house, to do whatever you can. But if you do not have the knowledge and the understanding of these spiritual things, the best thing you do is get yourself someone to clean it for you. Because a lot of times I've seen people try to clean out homes and just rile up the spirits. Just make them mad. Get them upset. So I ask you guys, and you ladies and gentlemen, to please take it upon yourself to find out when things are a little bit too strong for you. When things are a little bit too out of hand for you. This also goes with magic. See, there is no jacks of all trades in spirituality. That is bullshit. People have strengths and weaknesses. People are good at some things and some people are good at other things. There are certain types of work that I will not work, that I will not do, that I tend not to even look at. See, guys, there are too many people out here doing work without consultation, without finding out if spirit is willing or not willing to take on this task. I often look away from or look down on people that say, well, yes, I will do this work for you for so much money, without asking spirit, without getting with spirit and finding out if spirit wants to do this. See, there should be no type of work, I don't care what kind of work it is, without consultation, without looking into the facts. See, guys, I've seen plenty of people that thought they've been fucking hexed. They think they're hexed left, right, left, right, left, right. And a lot of times it's just an ignored ancestor. It is an attachment. And more times than less, it is the person's own fucking doing. And we also need to look at the thing about mental health. Yes, mental health. Because I swear to God, yes, a good jinx will have you fucked up. But your mind will have you in a very dark place. So we as readers, as workers, and as all these things do not need to Willy Wonka shit. Sugarcoat nothing. If we see mental illness in a person, we should find the right way to lead these people to where they need to be. Baby, I'm trying to tell you something. I'm trying to learn you something. I hope all you guys take these little things under consideration. But while we do that, let's listen to a little bit of more music because today is my funky Filled Friday. I'll be right back. Let's start this thing off right with some. Let's fool around, baby.
Oh, baby.
I see y'all dancing over there. I know some of y'all, this was your mama's and your daddy's song. Maybe you got Uncle Cookie in your life. I know plenty of babies was made to this here, baby. way back to New York City. Check out Love Supply Botanica.
Any way, anyhow you want me to be.
Mambo Yaza has joined us.
All of you, please take all of me. Oh, sugar, open your gates, open the gates to your love. Let me come inside. Love is strong and our love shouldn't be denied. Oh, come on, honey, let's satisfy, baby.
Ann, how you doing, baby? Me love you, Mom. Out of Ohio. She has a beautiful shop over there, too, so go ahead and check her out. Georgia Beach. Hey, baby.
Oh, come on, baby. Give me some sugar. Let's get down. Come on, let's get on. Let's fool around. Come on, let's fool around. Oh, let it all hang out. You know what I'm talking about. Let's get it on. Come on, let's get it on. Let's fool around. Let's fool around. Let's get on down. Let's fool around. Let's fool around. Oh, turn the lights down low. Baby, you know I love you. I love you. Let's fool
Santo, Miss Angela. Salam alaikum to you. Tata Campo just came in from Botanica Abre Caminos in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. Christy, how you doing, sister? Salam alaikum. I think it's a grass break time. Wait a minute. The dance space ain't that big over here, so I gotta be careful where I step. Marcus Fisher, that's my nephew. Dakieta, how you doing, baby? Janice the wrong hole. I hope y'all dancing. Get this party started off right. All right, someone is my neighbor from Rio Grande Valley. Miss Nalia, how you doing, baby? Sidewalker just joined us. Miss Sonia Freeman just joined us. How you doing, baby? Christine Thompson.
You know what I'm talking about. Let's get it on. Come on, let's get it on.
Elizabeth Rose.
Let's fool around. Let's fool around. Let's get on down. Let's fool around. Let's fool around.
Cigar I burned out.
Oh, turn the lights down low.
Everybody knows I enjoy a good cigar. Sidewalker says she's from Detroit. How you doing, baby? How cold it is up there. And that song was called Let's Fool Around, baby. Let's fool around. Let's get on down. Baby, I gotta tell you, our story today comes from The Adventures of High John the Conqueror by Stephen Sandfield. I gotta tell you, this book here is one of the best books I have ever owned. I don't know if I've actually said this story on Facebook Live, but I know that I've said it on Spreaker. But today is a day that I really want to say this. Because the words that we use today are words that were derogatory back then, sometimes accepted, and now have become derogatory again. We think about all the things that we have learned in our past. But many of you need to learn about this wonderful, wonderful folk saint. Yes, I say a folk saint. Because everyone uses High John the Conqueror, but no one knows where the stories come from or know any of the stories of High John the Conqueror. So I tell each and every one of my friends to go on ahead and buy this book. Okay? It's called The Adventures of High John the Conqueror by Stephen Sandfield. It's a wonderful way of learning. It's a wonderful way of teaching children about our folk saints. Okay? About folk saints that really meant something to us. I know that a lot of people have a lot of saints like Saint Expedite, for accident, or Saint Barbara, which are folk saints. Okay, not really recognized by Catholic churches or recognized by any church, but they're so miraculous in the way that they tend to our or do our bidding. Okay, so they have become folk saints, but a lot of people have not called High John the Conqueror a folk saint, although a lot of people use his root each and every day. So today I introduce most of you who have not heard about him, some stories about him. Okay, so let's start off today with a story from The Adventures of High John the Conqueror by Steve Sandfield. This is the foreword of it. With slaves taking what they needed to survive, the overseers or foremen of the plantations began to miss things. One day the melon patch would be bursting with ripe fruit, but the next day much of it would be gone. What happened to the melons, the overseers would ask. The slaves would say the coons got 'em, meaning raccoons. Well, coons got it, the slaves would say. It didn't take long for the overseers to figure out what was making off with the melons and the corn, and they began to refer to the slaves as coons. Although the term later became a bitter racial slur, it was at first a begrudging recognition of the cleverness and the audacity of the slaves. Our story begins right now. In the box. Knowledge can often mean power, and this was true to High John. He came to understand this very early on. Usually the smartest slaves on the plantations got the easiest work. So John was determined to prove Old Master that he was the smartest of them all. He took to sitting up under the kitchen table in the big house each evening just as time for Old Master and Missy to have their supper. He would sit there quietly in hopes that he might learn something new that he can take a little of his slaving off of his life. One spring evening, he heard Master tell his wife, "Tomorrow I'm going to send John down to the bottom land and have him plow up the new ground." John went back to his cabin, but the next morning he was up well before the sun. He got the plow out of the shed and the mules out of the barn, and he hitched them up. When Old Master came around and told him, "John, today I want you to plow the..." John cut him off. It's short, and said, "Yes, I know, Master. You want me to go down there and plow the new ground. Well, I got the mules hitched and I'm ready to go." "John, how did you know that was what I was going to ask you to do?" asked Master. "Oh, I don't know. I just knowed it. But I do know. I just seem to know everything." John went down to the bottom land to do the plowing, and Master went on to about his business, without giving it any more thought. With cotton planting on the way, he just had so many good things on his mind. That evening, John sat at the kitchen window and again began to listen to Master talking to Missy. It is time to clean out the stables. I will have John go down there and spread some manure on the new ground he plowed today. When Master went down to the stables the next morning, there was John raking up the bedding. He was ready and cleaned the 2 stalls. John, Master said, "How did you know I wanted the stables clean?" "I told you, Master. I know everything. I don't know how I know it, I just do." "Why, is there probably anything I can't foretell?" Old Master was a little puzzled by all this. "Something as funny is going on." "Maybe so," replied John. "But I do know things, and when I get these stables clean, I think I'll haul out the dirty straw down to the new bottomland." Master didn't say anything, but he began to consider that maybe John did have something special about him, some type of special powers, and let him know things. Come evening, there was John under the window again, listening to Master make plans for the next day. The barn had leaked, and a lot during the rain season. "I think I'll have John fix it." By the time Master got up in the morning, John was carrying piles of wood and shaking up the ladder to the roof. "John," he said, "you know I wanted this roof fixed, didn't you?" "I sure did, Master, I sure did. I keep telling you I know everything, and I can see everything. There is nothing that can be hid from me." John spent the day repairing the leaks, and Master rode off into the neighboring plantations to meet the other farmers in those parts. After they talked for about the crops and their problems with their slaves, old Master began to brag about John. Sorry about that. Old Master began to brag about John. The other ones... I'm sorry, gentlemen and ladies. Someone decided to call me right now, although they know I make a show at this time. Old Master started bragging about John. I'm sorry, guys. So the other ones laughed at him. "You must be joking." One of them said, "There isn't a slave in the world who is that smart." "I am not joking," said Master. "My slave John is very smart. He knows everything. He sees everything, and you can't fool him." "In all my days, I have never known a slave I couldn't outsmart," boasted one of the men with them, and the other men agreed with them. "You can't outsmart John," shouted Master, who was getting angry about his word being questioned, "and furthermore, I will bet on it." There was more talk and more arguing before the old Master ended up betting his whole plantation, his money, his slaves, just about everything he owned, to his friends, that they could not fool old John. That evening, Master went to tell his wife what had happened, and there sat John listening. "They're all coming about noon, and I thought we put up a nice spread out on the lawn." John heard and headed back to his cabin. He figured that's all he needed to know. And sure enough, the next morning there was John sitting up at the tables in front of the big house. "Good for you," said Master. And he came out. "We're going to have a grand old party today." "I told you, Master, I know everything." "That's good, because I made a very big bet on you." "A bet on me?" asked John. "What kind of bet?" "Come on," laughed Master. "You're just trying to fool me. I know you know everything. That's just what I bet my friends." John didn't say a word, because he knew what to say to Master. As Master continued, "I bet all I own on you, John, and I am depending on you. If you win, you're going to make yourself a very rich man. But if you lose, there ain't nothing there's going to be, because you're going to be one dead slave." You know, John knew he was in trouble, and he didn't know what kind of trouble. "Maybe I've outsmarted myself this time," he thought. He wanted to make himself scarce, but there is no way he could do that. Before long, Master's friends and the neighbors began to arrive. They brought in their wives, their children, and some of their slaves too. They wanted everyone to see what were going to make a fool out of John and his master. Finally, The men took out a large wooden box from the back of one of the wagons and sat it on the ground. "You, John, come over here," said one of them ordered. John did as he was told, all the time wishing he was back home sick and in bed. "Well, we hear you're pretty smart," the man laughed. "Oh, I wouldn't say that," John said softly. "Well, your master says you are." John couldn't very well argue with that, because it would certainly never do for a slave to contradict his owner in public. "John," the man went on, "we got a box there. In the box, there's another box. In that box, there's another box. And in that box, still another box. And in that box, there's something. And we want you to tell us what it is." Old Master stepped forward and said, "Go ahead, John. Show them that you know everything. All you got to do is tell us what's inside the box, and you'll be a rich man. But if you don't, like I said, you're going to be one dead slave." Now, they put the box in the box, in the box, in the box, was a raccoon. And the reason they put it in so many boxes was so that John couldn't hear the scratching. Everyone was so quiet that the loudest sounds were the tiny chickadees hopping from branch to branch in the magnolia trees overhead. Everyone was watching John, and John was just standing there staring at the box. He stared harder and harder. He didn't have the slightest idea what was inside of it. He scratched his head, and drops of sweat as big as your fist began pouring down on him. Sorrier and sorrier that he ever tried to prove how smart he was, John began walking around the box to get an idea. "In the box, in the box, in the box," he mumbled as he circled it. "In the box, in the box, in the box, in the box, in the box." He knew what kind of trouble he was in now, and he knew it was big trouble this time. He circled the box one more time. In the box, in the box, in the box. Finally, he figured he might as well give up. He turned to the crowd and said, "You got an old coon there." Everyone started yelling in surprise as they turned around and looked over at the chubby raccoon that ran out. Old Master threw his hat up in the air and shouted, "I told you John knew everything, I told you." And that's how Old Master won his bet, and High John the Conqueror became a rich man. Again, this story is from The Adventures of High John the Conqueror. Guys, pick that book up. Y'all are playing with the root, but y'all don't know the damn story. Come on, baby. Let's make a big change. Let's make this happen. Now, we're going to play a little bit of Marvin Gaye. Got some new people in the thing. Miss Carmen, how you doing, baby? Mo Farai, Eduardo Reyna, Natalia James, Kim Bray, Miss Dina is over here in Spreaker. Miss Cassie Durham is over there in Spreaker. Ernesto Pell is watching us. What's happening, cuz? Mr. Eddie DeLee's all the way up Hialeah, Florida. We got several appearances coming up. In August, we will be at the Motown Witch. Pancho, salam alaikum, brother. The children of Ogun are showing up, waving machetes and shit. Kim Bray. Somebody's just said thank you, Candelo. No, thank you, baby. Thank you for watching. Somebody says they're dancing. Tamika, what's going on, baby? Our first stop this year, of course, is going to be at the Motown Witch with the MotownWitch.com. The whole Conjure Caravan will be there. Hootie Sherman's going to be there. Ifeanyi Bayou's going to be there. Professor Charles Porterfield, Doc Beverly, Michelle Jackson, Ifeanyi Bayou, Yayi Joyce. My friend Jacqueline West Hose is here. The Bossroom Broom Maker. Those brooms are awesome. Check out on Facebook, baby. Craig Marquis, all the way from New York City, is here. These shows will be able to be downloaded on Spreaker and YouTube. Y'all help the old man out and go ahead and share this podcast. Go over to Spreaker and like and share. If not, just share it here, baby. In June, St. John's Conjure Weekend in beautiful New Orleans. For all y'all that's mistaken me for a Creole, I am a Creole, but I am not a New Orleans Creole. I'm just a shit-talking, knife-wielding old pops, baby. By the way, I got some furniture I'm giving away. If you know anyone in the Tri-County area, tell them to come get this stuff before I give it to Goodwill. Colleen, how you doing, baby? Haven't seen you in quite a while. Gonna be making a fan page for Uncle Pookie. Smoke the small ones during the daytime and smoke the big ones later. I'd like to share a couple of Uncle Pookie's wisdoms with y'all today. Old Caribbean saying that says, the owner of the cow is the owner of the calves. I understand if you choose not to mess with people with offspring. But once you do get with that person with that offspring, and you're cohabitating, sleeping, taking out every now and then, and you are having all this fun with that other person, especially if it's sexually, guess what, baby? Those calves are yours now, Phil. Start taking care of them children. Start taking care of your own goddamn children, too. We're about to end this broadcast today. Crystal Madison, how you doing, baby? My favorite person in Sleepy Hollow. Y'all make sure y'all get y'all tickets for next year's Witches Ball. I know they listening to me in Conjure, New Orleans, at the Motown Witch. I got some good news, but I'm not going to share it now. Let's make lasting memories. Stay in your goddamn lane. And of course, that was Marvin Gaye. We've got to give it up. So many good things coming up. I hope you guys do follow us and have a good time. Our class on web magic has been postponed for one more month. So in January, Yayi Joyce, Charles Porterfield, Ifeanyi Bayu, and myself will be giving classes again. So make sure that you follow our links when we post them up, and you can go on ahead and take these classes with us. Guys, I gotta tell you, it's been a real good time. Please take care of yourself, take care of others, and as always, may all the egoons and shadows that accompany you have all the necessary light. From where I, Candelo Kimbisa, sits, that's it. Salam alaikum, everyone. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves and take care of everybody else. Salam alaikum. Now let's jam on.
Yeah. Jam on it.
the jam on production MC. If you want the best, then put me to the test, and I'm sure you'll soon agree that I got no flaws, cause I'm down by law when it comes to rocking viciously, you see. Cause when I was a little baby boy, my mama gave me a brand new toy. 2 turntables with a mic, and I learned to rock like a Dolomite. Time went by on this God creation. I knew someday I would rock the nation, so I made up my mind just what to do, and I joined with the Jam on production crew. So go crazy, don't let your body be lazy. I said don't stop the body rock till your eyesight starts to get hazy. Clean out your ears and you open your eye. If you wanna hear the music, just come alive. If you don't know how, get ready to learn, cause Cosmo's taking his turn to burn.
Take the C and O in the C, then you add M-O and the freaky D, add a funky beat, and then what do you see? It's Cosmo D, yeah baby, that's me. I got the beat, that's oh so sweet. Without me rocking, it's incomplete. So rock this yo, rock that yo, rock on and don't you dare stop. You rock this, rock that, and that's a fact. Cause the Jam on crew will rock your body right back. Rock a steam locomotive right off the track. It's the whole wide world of funk attack. To the beat, yo, get down. Let me rock it to the rhythm of the funky sound. From hill to hill, from Z to Z, and when Jam on's rocking, everybody screams. Jam on it, jam on and on and on and on it. And if you're feeling like you wanna dance on that, then go on ahead and flow it. Cause jamming on is what we do best. It's what separates us from the rest. And if you don't think our crew's down for real, let me tell you what happened to the man of steel.
Hey, Superman had come to town to see who he could rock. He blew away every crew he faced until he reached our block. His speakers were 3 stories high with woofers made of steel. And when we brought our set outside, he said,
Be real. He said I'm faster than a speeding bullet when I'm on the set. I don't need no fans to cool my ass. I just use my super breath. I can fly 3 times around the world without missing a beat. I socialize with X-ray eyes and ladies looking sweet.
and then he turned his power on and the ground began to move. And all the buildings for miles around were swaying to the groove. And just when he had pulled the crowd and swore he won the fight,
We rocked this butt with a 12-inch cut called Disco Kryptonite. Well, Superman looked up at me. He said, you rock so naturally. I said, now that you've learned the deal, let me tell you why I'm so for real. I'm Cosmo D from outer space. I came to rock the human race. I do it right because I can't do it wrong. That's why the whole world is singing this song.
jam on it.
I jam on it. I say jam on it. As day turns to night and night turns to day, whatever time it is, I want to hear you say.
Jam on it.
I jam on it. I say jam on jam on it. Jam all around and upside down and keep it jamming to the jam on
It's
production
12 o'clock somewhere.
Jam
Was
on
brought
it.
to you by
I said jam
Kimbisa.org.
on it. I said jam on is the funky beat that takes
The
control.
Motown
The short shot,
Witch.com.
you gotta rock your soul.
Jam on it.
Jam on it. I said jam on it. Get out of your seat and
Professor
jam on the beat.
Waterfield.com.
And don't get there, stop your early morning.
Jam on it.
Jam on it. Jam on it. Jam on it. Jam on it.
The Conjure Shop in Omaha, Nebraska. And people like you. Have a great weekend.